Hello, children. Let's begin with the next topic of money and credit, that is RBI or Reserve Bank of India. Reserve Bank of India is the central bank of our country, which is also known as a statutory body as well. It is mainly responsible for the printing of Indian currency notes and the managing of money supply in the Indian economy also, where this Reserve Bank of India was established on the 1st of April 1935. Initially, the ownership almost of this RBI, it was in the hands of non-government shareholders, or its share capital was in the hands of non-government shareholders. But to prevent it and to have the centralization of shares in the few hands in our India, this Reserve Bank of India has been nationalized on the 1st of January 1949. This RBI has few important major functions, where the first important function of RBI is monopoly of note issue. Here the word monopoly of note issue is nothing but RBI has single major power to issue currency notes in our country, where the headquarters of RBI is at Mumbai. Reserve Bank of India has sole right to issue all the currency of various denomination into our country, except 1 rupee coin or the other coins which are being issued by the Ministry of Finance. This Reserve Bank of India has adopted the MRS, which is known as Minimum Reserve System, for the issuing or printing of currency notes. Since 1957, RBI is maintaining gold and foreign exchange reserves of minimum 200 crore, of which at least 115 crore should be in gold and remaining should be in the foreign currencies, where Reserve Bank of India presently is printing the currencies of different denominations. It may be of 10 rupees, 20, 100, 200, 500 or 2000. But 1 rupee is circulated or issued by central government on behalf of RBI. This 1 rupee coin or the other coins are being issued by the Ministry of Finance. The second important function of RBI is known as banker to the government. This Reserve Bank of India is also being termed as banker to the government because it acts as an agent or advisor to government of India or to the different state governments into our country. It performs all the banking functions of the state and central government, and it is also tendering useful advice to the governments on matters related to the economic and monetary policy also. And along with this Reserve Bank of India is also managing the public debt of central government. Public debt, it may be in the form of internal loans or external loans. Internal loans is being taken by the central government within our India from a Reserve Bank of India. The third important function of RBI is known as Bankers Bank. For 1 marks, there is one question which is going to come into the examination, that is, why Reserve Bank of India is known as Bankers Bank or mother of banks or Central Bank of India? The answer for this question is Reserve Bank of India is known as Bankers Bank, Central Bank of India, or the mother of banks because all the banking transactions in our country are being controlled by RBI itself. So Reserve Bank of India is known as the Bankers Bank because it performs the same functions for the other commercial banks as well. And RBI lends money to all the commercial banks of the country in the form of loans. So, Reserve Bank of India is being termed as Bankers Bank because it is the head of all the banks of our country, where it is controlling the banking transactions of all the commercial banks of our country. The next important function of RBI is the National Clearing House. In India, Reserve Bank of India acts as the clearing house for all the scheduled banks which have the statutory accounts with it. So through this function, the Reserve Bank of India enables all the scheduled banks to settle their transactions easily among various banks. The next important function of RBI is the controller of credit. Reserve Bank of India always undertake the responsibility of controlling the credit situation in our country, where for this purpose it uses two different methods to control the credit situation in our country. The one important method is known as quantitative credit control method, and the second is known as qualitative credit control method. These two methods are being used by Reserve Bank of India to control the inflationary situation in India, where it squeezes the money supply through its tight monetary policy and vice versa. The next important function of RBI is the custodian of foreign exchange reserve. Reserve Bank of India is known as custodian of foreign exchange for the purpose of keeping the foreign exchange rates in a stable way. Always, Reserve Bank of India buys and sell the foreign currencies, and it also protects the country's foreign exchange funds also. Reserve Bank of India sells the foreign currencies in the foreign exchange market also. When RBI supply the foreign exchange, it decreases the economy and vice versa. And there is a data which has been presented by RBI as presently India has a foreign exchange rate of US dollar 487 billion. The last important function of RBI is promotion of banking habits. Always Reserve Bank of India is playing an important role in the economy of our country, both in its regulatory and promotional aspects. Since the inception of the planning in our India from 1951, the developmental activities are gaining momentum in our country, where Reserve Bank of India is expanding the banking system in the unbanked areas of our country. And along with it, Reserve Bank of India are taking more responsibility with both regulatory and promotional areas. You know that nowadays RBI has been performing a wide range of promotional functions in the name of regulating the volume of currency and regulating of credit, control over commercial banks, determining the monetary and control credit and mobilizing of savings from the public and institutional credit to agriculture and specialized financial institutions, and the last is security to depositors as well. All these are the important promotional habits which are being promoted by RBI for the purpose of promoting banking habits in India. Now let's discuss the next topic of this chapter, that is regulation of money supply. Let us understand what does this money supply or monetary supply means. Monetary supply or money supply means the total stock of money that is in circulation in an economy. This monetary policy includes all the notes, coins and demand deposits held by the public. What does demand deposit means? Demand deposit is nothing but the amount of money which can be withdrawn by the public on demand at a specified period, which can be withdrawn with the help of saving account or current account on their demand, and by that time the bank is liable to pay money to the account holders on their demand, which is known as demand deposit. All these forms of money in the terms of notes, coins and saving account money or current account money are under circulation, which is known as regulations of money supply. The regulations of money supply in India has been subdivided into four types. The first is known as M1, and second is known as M2, third is known as M3, and fourth is known as M4, where M1 and M2 is known as narrow money. For multiple choice they are going to ask you in the board examination, and M3 and M4 are known as broad money. Let's discuss about M1. M1 includes all the currency notes of 10, 20, 50, 100, 200, 500 and 2000, which are being held by the public on any given day. It also includes this M1 which is there, it also includes all the demand deposit with all the banks in our country, both saving account money and current account money as well, where all this current account money and saving account money can be withdrawn at a short span of time. So it is known as a narrow money, because the money can be withdrawn at a short notice at a given date. It also includes all the other deposits of the banks which has been kept with the RBI. And remember, this M1 which is there, it is being defined with currency notes and coins net demand deposit which are being held with a commercial bank, where with the formula it is being determined with M1 is equal to CC plus DD plus other deposit. Here CC is nothing but currency or coins plus DD is nothing but demand deposit plus other deposit which are there with the RBI. The second important regulation of money supply is known as M2. M2 is also a narrow money, where this M2 includes M1 which is being termed as currency notes and coins plus net demand deposit held in the commercial banks. Plus it also includes the saving deposit with the post offices also, or the saving deposit of the post offices also. And the third important regulations of money supply is known as M3, which is known as broad money. M3 consists of all the currency notes held by the public or demand deposit with the bank, and deposits of all the banks with the RBI, and the net time deposit of banks in the country as well. But here, this broad money which is there, it is not under circulation, so it is known as a broad money. What is the reason? Because here M3 is having a formula M1 plus net time deposit. What is time deposit? Time deposit is also known as a term deposit of commercial banks. Here term deposit is nothing but the amount of money which cannot be withdrawn before a specified period or before a specified term or time, in the form of term deposit account, where this term deposit money is not under circulation because it cannot be withdrawn at a short notice, but after the expiry of term we need to withdraw the money from the term deposit account. And the last important type of regulation of money supply is known as M4. M4 is including M3 plus the total deposit which are there of the post offices, where this M4 which is there, it is also known as a broad money because the money in this M4 is not under circulation, because M3 is including M1 plus net time deposit, where time deposit money is not under circulation because the money cannot be withdrawn before the expiry of